you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Everybody, this is Harold Green of Bright Tree Financial Group, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. I'm doing pretty good. I was up just kind of not too early today, but I got up, went to Starbucks, got my coffee, and went for a little drive just to kind of clear my head before I started work today. And went out to I'm up in Vegas now, so went up to Red Rock, drove up there, and it's very beautiful. Of course, it doesn't replace the ocean that we have there in Hawaii, but it's still a great place to go and just kind of sit down and just take in all the beauty. And I think every place has its own uniqueness and something that's beautiful about it. And so I was kind of thinking about how I wanted to talk to you guys about what I needed to talk to you about today and share with you in order to help you get from where you are today to where you really want to be. And so the title of today's show is, Are You Giving Up Already? Are you giving up already? And my goal is to help you get from the 97% to the 3%. And I'll reiterate that. It's basically only 3% of the people in the country will retire on and have enough to last them their entire lives, whereas 97% of the people will not. And I was kind of thinking about that this morning, and it kind of reminded me of something that my wife said to me the other day. She said, I'm really glad we bought this place in this area, in this neighborhood. It has a lot. There's a lot of schools up here that are good in this area. They have a lot of community centers with big, huge pools and things like that. And she said, if I would have had this when our kids were growing up, it would have been a lot easier to raise them. And I can't blame her. And I had absolutely no response, none whatsoever. And the only thing I could think in my mind is sorry for growing up poor. Sorry for being poor after we got married. Sorry for thinking poor and doing poorish stuff. And it just kind of bothered me a little bit. And the past is the past. And I believe I've worked really hard to kind of make up for a lot of the stupid things that I did, when we first got married. I won't go back into all that crazy stuff because I've already shared it with you on a lot of my shows. So are you ready to get it? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. Are you giving up already? And this is kind of crazy because one of the things I see the most that keep people in the 97% is they quit too soon on stuff. Like, they give up too soon. And in this day and age, it's more prevalent than ever before, because with the advent of social media, instant IG instead of Instagram, instant gratification, IG. People want it right now. I want 20% today. Grow my portfolio overnight. I got 10,000, make me $1 million in 6 months. Like crazy stuff. People don't say that to me out loud, but the kind of way they live their lives, it's just kind of it just kind of shows me that today is not about what you say, it's about what you do and about what you show. And here's one of the biggest things that I want to share with you. A majority of the people born in the United States are not born wealthy. Okay. If you come from a normal middle-class family, or even a lower middle-class family, or even upper lower class, whatever, regardless of your background, you were born behind the curve from day one. You didn't come out from your mom and dad with a trust fund from day one. Most people did not. And so you're born in the 97%. You're born into lack and insufficiency. You're born not having everything you need in order to live life the way the 1%, 2%, or the 3% do it. I was born that way. I was born behind the 8 ball. Okay. And it takes a lot of change, and it takes a lot of discipline to grow out of that, and to grow into having wealth, and growing into success, and growing out of lack and insufficiency. Yes, you can grow out of lack and insufficiency. It's like, I played basketball in high school. I wasn't that good, but I made the team. You know what I mean? Like I made the team. I worked hard all summer and I made the team and I was waiting on my growth spurt. And the only part of me that grew was from my waist to my head. My legs didn't grow. I didn't get that growth spurt down there. Like I didn't get to like 6'2", 6'3", like so I could be that like prolific point guard, like that prolific 3 shooting guard or 2. I didn't happen for me. But what I've learned when it comes to finances, you can grow out of lack and insufficiency. You can grow out of it. Okay. But you're going to have to take the right vitamins and you're going to have the right mindset. So I want to talk to you from the perspective of what keeps a person in the 97%, what keeps them from being able to achieve what they need to achieve to get to the 3%. And honestly, I think it's real simple. And I'm just going to share with you guys from an emotional standpoint, from like something that's been in my heart. And I don't want you to be offended by anything that I say, because everything that I say is meant to serve a purpose and it's meant to help you and not to harm you or to hurt you or to hinder you, but it's to make an impact in your life. So here's things number one. At times, the 97% find themselves in one of the following, if not all of them, at the same time. Okay. So number one, here it is. Number one, they can't handle emotions. I've seen it, right? A lot of people, they cannot handle their emotions. And so when you can't handle your emotions, you do crazy stuff like you call me and say, sell all your stock right before, the next day it goes up. Like, oh my God, I've had enough of this. This thing is going down. I can't, this is not going to turn around. It's not going to change anytime soon. I want out. This is not going the way I thought. Like I want out. And I'm sitting there like, yo, I've done all the research. We've done the research. We're in a period of seasonality. We're in a season of push pull. This is what's going to happen. Do you need the money today? The answer is no, right? But emotionally, you need it. Emotionally, you need to see your portfolio not go down. Emotionally, you need to see your portfolio go up emotionally. But strategically, you don't. And it's just an emotion that you're going to have to overcome when it comes to things like this. So here's what you are susceptible of when you can't handle your emotions. Number one, you take the path of least resistance. Like you've been going through something so tough and all of a sudden, like you give up and then you don't totally give up. You just start to make excuses and then you go down the path of least resistance. Like, okay, I don't want to do this strategy because it's too tough on me emotionally. So therefore, I'm going to do this strategy over here because it's less volatile. It's less stress on me emotionally. And here's what you need to understand when you take the path of least resistance. There is not much left on this path at the end. I'm going to say that again. When you take the path of least resistance, there's not much left on it at the end when you get there. Why? Sorry, y'all. But too many people travel the path of least resistance and they consume whatever they can find. So the path of least resistance leads to crumbs. At the end, there's nothing but crumbs. At the end of the path of least resistance is lack, insufficiency, okay? Regret, hate, anger, all of these things, right? Now, I've been there. I'm not going to lie. I've been there. I've given up on things and I've tried to take the path of least resistance, but I'm telling you, God would not let me stay there. He would not allow me to stay there because the purpose in my life is not, it's much greater than for Harold Green. It's much greater than, you know what, I'm comfortable. I have enough for my family. I'm doing okay. I can pay for college. I can, drive whatever car I want. I could take whatever trip I want. I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. It's not about me. It's about the impact that I'm having through my giving, right? Through my giving or my investment into the lives of other people. And the return that I'm looking for is I'm looking for them telling me, hey, yo, this really helped me out. It really helped me get from where I wanted to be to, from where I am right now to where I really wanted to be. I'm doing great in life and I'm able to make an impact in other people's lives. That's the return that I want. Now, the other thing I find is this. A lot of people in the 97% are very impractical at times. Impractical. I've interviewed hundreds and thousands of people. Like I've interviewed and talked to a lot of people. I've had a lot of meetings in my life. I started this line of business when I was 23. Okay. I'm 50 now. I'll tell you that. I'm 50 now. That's a long time, right? That's 20 some years. I've been doing this for a very long time and I've talked to a lot of people. And everybody's homes and their mentality and how they grew up is extremely different. But some of the things I see that make me believe and show me that they're impractical is they follow bad advice because it aligns with their worldview. Okay. It aligns with their worldview. And I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and something happened and I had to call for some help with something with a technical issue I was having. And, the tech that I got on the phone, nice person, walked me through everything that I needed to do to get my system up and running again. And they started asking me questions about things. And I told them, like, hey, this location, that location, blah, blah, blah. They began to tell me, I hate the place I live right now. I hate this place. I hate this place. I'm like, why do you hate this place? Like, I grew up, in that area, close to that area, not too far from there anyway, but it's a decent place. And, we began to talk or whatnot. They were hating the place they lived because of their world view. Their world view. People have canceled on me and have tried to cancel me because the things that I say on my show or the things that I say in my market minute or just the information that I publish doesn't align with their worldview. I'm going to ask you a question. You want to make money and have success, or you want to feel good, right? Like, you have to choose, right? A lot of times the people in the 97%, they're chasing their feelings and they're chasing feeling good. They're chasing pleasure. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. And a lot of times they're trying to align everything in their life with their worldview, their political worldview. And I think being apolitical to the best of your abilities it's a great arrow in your quiver these days. Because too many people, I don't want to own the stock because this company does this. I don't want to own this. I don't want to live here. I don't want to do this. Like, you want to have money or do you want to feel good? You got to make up your mind. Because if you have money, I'm telling you, politics really don't matter if you have money. You're not subject to crazy things. If one person comes in and they jack up gas prices, to $10 a gallon, it may be uncomfortable, like maybe, but if you got money, it doesn't matter, right? You still can put gas in your car. You're unaffected. But the longer you stay in the 97%, the more these types of things will impact your life. So therefore, you get all crazy about it, and it causes problems. So from being very impractical to following bad advice because it aligns with your worldview makes you easily susceptible to being deceived and misled, right? To being deceived and misled. And I've talked to a lot of people and they tell me things and I'll say, well, why do you think, okay, let's pull back the curtain on this thing. You guys watched The Wizard of Oz, right? One of my favorite movies of all time. And the part that I love the most is when they pull back the curtain on The Wizard of Oz and it's like this little dude and they're pulling all these levers and freaking thing was making all these noise and had everybody scared, had this big booming voice, but behind the scenes it's just this little dude, right? And that's how they make success seem in the world out there is like it's scary, it's hard. It's scary and it's hard. And when you're easily deceived and misled, at times that'll make you conflicted, right? You're conflicted. The Bible says God does everything decently and in order. God is not a God of confusion, right? It also says where there's confusion, right? There's every evil work when there's confusion. So if you're looking at a situation and it's very confusing and there's a lot of like confusion around it, there's nothing good with that. So one of the things you're going to have to do on your way to becoming the 3% is you're going to have to become convicted versus conflicted. I'm going to say that again. You have to have conviction versus confliction. And confliction is, it's hard to make a decision, waffling, right? Can't make up your mind, too much information. It bogs you down. And so you're going to have conviction about what it is that you're doing, who it is that's on your team. And you're going to have a ride and die mentality, right? You live with it, you die with it, that kind of thing. And you're going to have to block out the noise. And when you're conflicted, here's what happens. You can get things twisted and turned around the wrong way. Like I said, I was an air traffic controller. And one of the things that causes a lot of plane crashes is disorientation. When the pilot becomes disoriented, right? They don't know whether they're upside down or right side up. Even though they're looking dead straight at the instrument panel, they're seeing one thing with their mind and their eyes, but then their body is telling them something different. And so they sometimes they follow how they feel, and that leads to a lot of disaster. Okay. That's some real stuff right there. So one of the things you're gonna have to understand is you can't go by how you feel if you want to get from the 97% to the 3%. You're gonna have to make a lot of decisions that go against the grain. You're gonna have to be a contrarian, right? Versus a follower and following the herd and things like that. Because look, the herd is the 97%. That's pretty much what it is. Now, look, I'm not beating up on anybody. All I'm saying is there's too many people out there that want to have a better life, but they just don't know how to get it. They don't even know where to start. And I was talking to a new client the other day that just came on board, and we were talking about a thing called brokerage link in your 401k. It's a self-directed account inside your 401k where you can buy stocks, options, and different things like that. And some companies don't allow the brokerage link inside the 401k simply because, number one, they don't want their employees day trading their 401ks. You're there to do a job. And if you are in the business field or you have any kind of job where you have access to a phone and things like that, a lot of these companies will not allow you to have a self-directed brokerage account in your 401k because they think you're just going to be there trading your stocks all day. Nurses are allowed to do this. They have it in their 401ks. Doctors, for the most part, have a self-directed. Pilots have it. And some other high level executives inside of a corporation are allowed to have the brokerage link inside their 401k. The other reason is because it's expensive for the company to pay for this. There's a separate fee that's built into your 401k. But if your company can allow it, that's a fantastic way to grow your wealth. The other reason is because companies need good workers. And if you can successfully trade your 401k and get out of a job super fast, right? Now it's turnover for the company. Now they lost an employee that they have to train again. They have to go recruit. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. Now, if you're in a medical profession, chances are you're not trying to grow your 401k so you can like run away in the next 5 years. That's not the thing. You love what you do. If you're a pilot, 9 times out of 10, like you love what you do. I haven't had one pilot that I've met that says, man, I hate being a pilot. I hate this job. I hate flying these people around all over the place and going all over the world. It sucks. I hate making a lot of money. I make $300,000 a year, but it sucks. I hate it. I hate it. I want to do something else. I've never heard a pilot say that. I've never heard a doctor say that. I've never heard really a nurse say that per se. I haven't heard these people say that. But getting back to my point, when you're conflicted, you get things twisted and you make bad decisions and you end up going the wrong way. Hence the phrase, don't get it twisted. No, becoming part of the 3% is going to require some mental toughness, right? I shared this with you guys before. My trainer, John, shout out to you, John. I haven't trained with him in a long time because I moved. And he's still there in Hawaii at Aloha Personal Fitness out there in Hawaii Kai. If you're listening to the show, you got to go check John and his team out. They're pretty cool people, and they get results. They get stuff done with you. Okay, but you're gonna need some mental toughness. And he said, dude, I keep telling you about this, and I keep telling you about your diet. I keep telling you about and you're like a freaking elephant. Like, not that you're big and fat like one, but kind of was, but. He's like, yo, you don't listen. Like once you make up your mind and you have it in your mind, like you're going to like storm the tent. You're going to you're going to run over the circus and nobody can stop you. Good and bad. But I've had to learn to tune that in to my purpose in life, tune that in to what I'm doing with you right now, have conviction on the show versus being conflicted about, who am I going to reach? Like, who do I want to talk to? Like, do I want to market to more clients? Do I want to build a huge company with $5 billion in assets? Like a lot of that's confliction. And I don't have that confliction. I have conviction that I want to help regular people get out of the 97% to the 3% so they can help more people. That's my thing. Now, I'm going to share with you some sports analogies here. And this is very important. On the path to becoming the 3%, sometimes you're going to get injured. All right. It's just a fact of life. You're going to have some wins. You're going to have some losses. You're going to have some financial injuries on the path to becoming the 3%. And my good buddy John says, nobody catches arrows sitting down. You're going to have people shooting at you. You're going to have things happen to you, and you're going to get injured. A lot of times people get injured. They just give up. They quit the game of finance. They just quit because they got injured. They got hurt. A lot of injuries are not career ending. Some can be, but a lot of them are not career ending injuries. And when a player gets hurt, guess what they do? They go to rehab, right? They get the surgery to fix what's got messed up. Then they go to rehab, and then they train to get back in the game. Finance is the same way. So if you get injured, here's the thing you got to ask yourself. All right. First of all, how do you prevent injuries in the financial world? Like in injuries are things that they're big, devastating things. Like say you lose half your portfolio. Now, I'm not talking about like COVID or, like Ukraine, or I'm not talking about things that are totally out of your control. I'm talking about you buying a hot stock tip that you thought was going to go up, and then that thing just goes to crap. And then, how do you recover from that? Right. You thought you were going to be right, but it didn't work out. So how do you prevent making bad financial decisions in the first place that will lead to injury? And number two, if you do get injured, how do you recover and become stronger, right? They used to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Sometimes psychologically, that's not the case. All right. I was watching this movie, Gran Turismo, and the kid had a wreck. A little bit corny, but, I get the point. The kid had a wreck. He killed somebody, and then he's like, he killed somebody. He never did that in a video game, right? When you're playing Real Racing 3 and you crash the guy out, you don't see his car catch. It doesn't happen that way in the video games. And in real life, sometimes you're going to crash and you're going to burn when it comes to finances. I've had businesses failed. I've had relationships fail. I've had things fail on me. And the question moving forward is, how do I prevent that from happening again? So when these things happen, learn from it and then get stronger and then recover. So I love the scripture in the Bible where David had went out and, they were out with his army, came back to camp. All the women and kids were gone and the camp was burnt down. Everybody was mad at him. They were mad at David. David, you've caused us to lose everything. And he had to get off to himself, and he had to have conviction about what he was going to do next. And so they were all mad at him. They wanted to kill dude, right? But he said, you know what? I'm going to encourage myself in the Lord. And God spoke to him. He said, look, go and pursue, overtake, and recover everything that you lost. So he started off with a bunch of people, and then some of the people, the guys in his army got weak. And David said, hey, let these guys rest. We're going to go get it done. We can do it without a full army. And they did. They got everything. All the wives, all the kids, all the possessions, they got everything. And then when they came back and they had won, the guys that were with him were like, no, these jokers here on the side, they quit on us. They gave up. And David said, no, give them back their stuff because God helped us with this. It's not ours. It's give it back to them. Give them what's theirs. David had a huge, huge heart. And I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. So if you have had some kind of financial injury or anything like that, and you're like, you want to give up and you want to quit, you don't have to. Life is going to go on, and the 3% is waiting on you. So I want you to sit down and make up your mind, talk to your spouse or whoever it is that are on your team. You're going to have conviction. You guys are going to get it done. If you don't have a team and you think you and I might be a good fit based on what you've heard me say, check me out, please. You do not have to sit there and continue to struggle with this and believe the things that people are telling you, because there's something better. I have this quote that I say to myself, an affirmation. God has set things up and, put things in motion for my benefit, right? It's for my benefit, right? I am going to pursue, overtake, and recover all, right? I have things that I say to myself on a daily basis. And if you want to be in the 3%, you're going to have to, first of all, talk yourself into doing it. And you're going to have to constantly talk yourself into doing it, because there's people out there that will talk you out of it and try to make you get in this position where you're comfortable, you have enough, and that's all it takes. You know what? It just takes one bad situation for you to be set back, right? So check me out. check out the website, check out my Rapid Retire program. And if you think you're a good fit for that, give me a call, 808-521-4401. And Beverly will figure something out, get you on my schedule so we can just have a little quick chat to figure out where you are. And I'm going to be checking to see if you have the mental toughness to graduate your situation, because if you really don't have the mental toughness, look, that's half the battle right there, right? Getting money is one thing, but you got to have the mental toughness in order to get with the program and to stick with the program. So I just wanted to share that with you folks out there today. Okay. And if you're convicted, I want you to tell yourself every day, things are going to get better for me. I'm going to make sure they get better for me. And I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of the situation and get to where I really want to be so that I can make an impact in the lives of other people. That has to be your motive, right? We're going to create a win-win situation. So thanks for tuning in today, everybody. And until next time, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is the podcastfactory.com.